he's going to try and rotate around your elbow.
Yeah.
So you put your shoulder to his sternum. So if he gives me this, right? He gives me this type of underhook. It's really what it is, right? I've got into the auxiliary plane. So the challenge he's got now is once I park this, there's no way this shoulder's going to go through me. He can't get out with this shoulder. This shoulder is pinned, and this is when you're going to start putting everything around, dropping that elbow with his neck in the middle into here. It's all just going to be doing this, right? That's going to be the game. What he can do is try to escape this round. He's going to basically try and I'm going to be like this, right? There's a couple of options. When I'm here, he can try to pendulum around. He can try and go to my back, right? He's got to try and put my kind of shoulder on the mat here. You're going pendulum. Yeah, that kind of idea. It's going to be, basically everything's going to be with that shoulder. So that becomes the only shoulder I need to worry about. So while I'm controlling the position, I just put my shoulder. Now I'm basically using this shoulder to stop him from coming up, right? So I'm forming a pyramid. So now the problem he's got is, and what you see on here, if he can get his shoulder to the outside, just walk towards me actually. Just walk. You see how anything along that idea, where he changes the angle of the shoulder, I've now got a problem. I want to drop all my weight with his throw. This starts to become the dilemma. But look, if I start sprawling back here, now for him to get that shoulder, I've got a big, and I can start doing shit to him. I can stop him turning. I can pin that shoulder by turning his jaw back. I can do, when I drop to here, if his chin can rotate, there's always the danger that he can also bridge me. So another thing he can do is think about forming good arm frames. There's only really 3, yeah. He could Americana my head. That's one option, right? That's not comfortable. So Americana would put the weight in his elbow. So Americana again for me? Yeah. So that's gnarly, right? But he can Americana and then Kimura. Americana and now Kimura. Now look at your, yeah. And now I can't move my head. The final thing would be for him to put a bridge in. So keep the Kimura. He puts a bridge in and he then iron pillows his hand to the mat. You go, iron pillow your hand in the bridge. And that's him getting out. Now I can stop that by not going for the submission. So it just ends up being a game of me trying to. I've now got this, and I just start trying to put like my head down by his hip. So now if he tries to walk into me, just walk for now. Yeah, like not much is happening, but look at where my shoulder's going now. So when James starts to connect his shoulder, now pendulum your leg back and do the get up. Yeah, it's half a pendulum, but it's that. It then becomes this again. So me having that inside control reduces it makes the game much more about, I know where he's got to go. It shuts down half of his options because he can't move that inside shoulder, it's pinned. So all of his ability to turn away from me is gone. The only thing he can really do is try to rotate inwards. And he's going to have to generally do that arc. I block the hip at the extreme. Now he definitely can't rotate out. He can't use that shoulder, but he can get up.
Do you think part of the process of thinking about where you are is what's free, what can I move, and in which direction can I move my hip and my shoulder? Is that part of the sort of process of elimination?
Yeah, which shoulder's free, first of all, and then usually which hip.
Yeah.
When he's on the hips, he generally can't attack the neck imminently. When he's on the shoulders, he can attack his throat, and he can, attack your jaw. So this is, for me, why it's 80-20, is that when he starts getting up under the shoulder line, he's just got so many more options that can apply real pressure to you. Whereas when he's on your hips, it's controlling, but you're not yet going to die because he's on your hip. He's not on your throat. He's not affecting your respiratory system and the impact that has on your beliefs and your outlook. He's stuck down on your hip.
Yeah.
You know, and if you know how to use your chin and your shoulders together and start getting to these get-up positions where he's sat on the hip, well, now he's got a real problem because he can't stay on the hip anymore. He's got to come forward. And when he comes forward, now we're back into, can we get under his auxiliary plane, and then we're going to fucking bridge him over our head when he starts coming in that direction. That's what we're really looking to do. That's really what we were doing.
Yeah.
So we're playing between those lines.
And if they're attacking your neck in whatever way, does that imply that their weight is going into this line?
Well, it's not on the hip, is it?
Yeah. So you've got that option to move your hips, bridge your hips.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to get the escape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm also saying to you, even back on the guard pass, we're dealing with the guard. I'm here and I pick a side for my chin. I don't care if he goes this way. I pick a side. I'm not in the middle. The point is, when I'm here, I'm shutting off the auxiliary planes as best I can between my hips and my armpits, but I don't leave this open. So there's these three lines you've really got to defend no matter what. This and these. Because these are traded between. If he gets an underhook, you can bet the next thing he's going to do is put his weight in your throat. Because then the egg timer's on. And now, even if he's not choked, like he's that good at choking you, the egg timer's on and you're like, fuck, he's on my throat. I can't breathe. All the negativity shit. And he can do that when he knows he's not got these. But if he doesn't have these and he starts trying to get on my neck, you know, unless I leave it open, he shouldn't be able to like really headlock me, even if he went around this way. He goes around the blind side, okay, well, look, I can start to recover. I can do a backward roll and recover. If he comes this way on it, I can start putting my shoulder in the middle, and now I'm switching into this. And look at how we're starting with the game again. All things that, you know. But my shoulder goes in the middle, I'm not flat. My chin's here, I'm beginning to get up. But I also pull guard from here. You know, I've got all kinds of options. So we're shutting this off even from the beginning. And this is why I'd say to anybody who's messing around collar choking or holding their head or whatever, is it really worth this beginning to open up? I always think like this is just if everything goes wrong, this is just to me infinitely better. Auxiliary plane's hidden, chin to shoulder. He's now going to have to play, you know, this part of the body. If he gets any kind of like when he's putting the elbow, think about like how much of my body he's getting here to pin. He's getting like this, geometry-wise, he's getting this line when he puts his elbow here, right? But he's not getting that whole line of my land here. He's not getting my whole border here. If my arm's, you know, at least inside. When he comes for this underhook to try and get inside, so go for the underhook. No, this one. Yeah. Americana, I close the elbow. Right, so he keeps thinking about how he can get inside. The next thing I'm thinking about is if Americana's going to go wrong, it's coming back in. So it's almost like there's my Kimura. My little Kimura bit, and now I'm going back. I'm back in here, and there he goes again. But I try not to give it up. And then if he really starts to force it, I'm going to this. So he can't put his weight back on my hip. So I get on my side. I'm basically back here again. Whatever. Stand on. But he only gets that. He's got that, and he's got that, because I ain't giving him anything inside. So that's what we're doing. We're giving him little bits of the land, but he doesn't get it. And if in trying to get that, he opens his planes up, well, now I can rotate around him. That's the whole purpose of the underhook. is to get in the auxiliary plane to move around the big bits of real estate that he's got. I'm rotating around it.
And if they go for this before any of this,
Your chin should be, yeah, so your chin should be on your shoulder, which, you know, if you do it together, brings your shoulder into the middle, which defends your sternum line, which is like a spine. The body, you know, he puts his shoulder on my sternum, it will drive it to the mat, because it's a piece of bone. My body again is designed to go with him driving into that. So if I hide the sternum with the angle, you know, all of a sudden now I'm on his sternum. So when I push, he moves. But when he pushes me, he generally doesn't move me. And he has to invest a huge amount to push that shoulder down. And then, of course, I'm going to use that because he has to throw so much into it because he doesn't really own the connection. So I then get the reversal. Yeah.
It does seem to save so much energy and effort, because as soon as someone gets up, you're in a whole world of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, to try and get space and
Yeah.
try and move around.
Yeah. I think the way to think about it is think about your torso as your border. And almost everything that they were, even the leg attacks, I've said about this, you know, people think, well, the leg attacks didn't gain. He's still got to cross my hip line to attack my leg. And he usually has to bring his foot all the way over this to then put his foot back in between my legs to begin to attack my leg. So even leg locks, you know, but if I start giving up underhooks, he can start attacking my legs a lot easier as well. If I start giving this up, he'd go back to attack my leg because this is open. So we're shutting, the most important bit is this, because it's just longer than that bit. And if he shuts this off, I have to usually escape over my shoulders, unless he makes a mistake. I have to shoulder roll, which is what you put is from Malbot. I have to start with back and shoulder rolls. And that's just a less good option than you know, bridges, which are basically like squats, or these pendulums. You know, they're just much bigger movements with more power, they generate more force. Whereas once I start shoulder rolling, it's like you can use skill to go over that as well. Whereas you need way less. Let me just double check the time. Oh shit. Right, we're 7:04. Any final questions on any of that?
That's really good.
All good. So, yeah, not the most intense session today, but it's not. This is an exercise; it's a skill. Do exercise at home, wherever. But the key thing is if you can build that as a mental mind map of that part of the game, it just repeats itself again and again.
That's right. Thank you.
cheers, thanks everyone.
Thank you.